The second largest and third largest bank runs in history happened last week. The government is taking steps to guarantee all deposits. That means more bond selling and money printing. Thousands have approached Noble Gold Investments to secure their wealth with gold. Gold is the most stable asset outside of government control. Hurry and go to noblegoldinvestments.com to secure your wealth and get a free 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin if you qualify. noblegoldinvestments.com, that's noblegoldinvestments.com. According to Senator Rand Paul, despite 100% of both houses of Congress voting to release all the intelligence material available on the origins of COVID-19, Joe Biden may still try to withhold some of those documents on the grounds that their release would be a security threat to the United States.
Well, you know, we had a unanimous vote in the Senate, a unanimous vote in the House, and then President Biden begrudgingly signed it. And when he signed it, he said, yeah, I'll give you the information as long as I determine that it's not going to hurt our national security, which is concerning that he's already putting a caveat on how much he's going to give us. I can also tell you that much of the information I'm asking for is unclassified already. I have 30 letters to 8 different government agencies. So far, I have no Democrats signing on to help me get any of this information. I've approached 4 Democrat chairmen, and most of the information is unclassified, but they refuse to give it. So this is a real problem, and it's a real problem because, look, 1 million Americans died, and we have yet to have any investigations into the origin, even though the FBI, the Department of Energy, the Lancet Commission, and also a investigation, over a year-long investigation by the Help Committee, all came to the same conclusion that in all likelihood this came from a lab in China.
We've got it up on the screen. The lab leak theory, the Energy Department is on board with that. The FBI is on board. But it's the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, the NIAID. They say it's nature. CDC says it came from nature. And those that say origins are still unclear is the CIA and the intel community. And you just mentioned the implications for our national security a moment ago. And Senator, I can't imagine what's worse than our intel community saying, you know, we might not ever really know where this came from. Dr. Fauci, we might never know. Well, we should demand to know, right?
But the people of America should realize that the people saying it didn't come from a lab are self-interested. Tony Fauci approved and gave the money to the lab in Wuhan. So by approving that, he has and shares some culpability in the origins of this virus. So he's always going to deny that it came from the lab because it comes back to his reputation for having the incredibly poor judgment to send this money to Wuhan. But it's the same for the CDC and the NIAID. They're all apparatchiks of Fauci. They've all been handpicked by him over decades. And so really these the machinery of government over there is biased, and they're never going to admit to this. But if you talk to the real scientists, and there's dozens and dozens of eminent virologists now who have come to the conclusion this came from the lab also, my goodness, even if it were a chance, why wouldn't we want to reform our policy so we don't fund this dangerous research? To this day, this dangerous research still happens in 12 different labs in the United States that I know of.
And Senator, it seems that some of the only people that are paying the ultimate consequences of this is our nation's children. They are paying the very long-term consequences of those shutdowns, of those school closures. And it continues to show up. I've got a brand new report in my hands. This is from a group that looks into this under the Wall Street Journal. WirePoints has new report cards for Illinois. This is one state. The 20 largest school districts in Illinois, where it is now revealed, Senator, just 30% of Illinois students are reading at grade level. Only 26% are proficient in math. And it's even worse for the minority students. Just 18% of Hispanic students and only 12% of black students statewide can read at grade level. But you know what is even more shocking when you dig through these? They're graduating, these kids. Seniors in high school, they're graduating 95% of them, and only about 40 to 45% of them are reading at grade level. So they're graduating them and they can't read or write.
This is a horror. The lockdowns didn't save any lives, but they damaged our children particularly the least among us, those who live in poverty, those who have difficult family circumstances. Homeschooling your kids, I'm all for, but everybody can't do it, and some weren't able to do this for their kids, and we lost a year or two of education, and some of these kids will never catch up again, but it also did not work. Everybody got COVID eventually, and it wasn't effective. The countries like Sweden that didn't lock down, their kids went to school every day, not one kid died in Sweden. So this was a fallacy promoted by Tony Fauci and the establishment of government, and it was wrong. It didn't save any lives, and we should never do it again.
Senator, appreciate you joining us today. It's tough stuff, and the American people, they look on and they want accountability, they want answers, and it's tough to hear from government officials that we might never know the origins of that deadly virus. Thank you very much for joining us.
We're not done. We're not done.
Got it. All right, Senator, come on back soon. Thank you. John, it is really something. You know, if we do have that sound, because I want to make sure I play out Dr. Anthony Fauci in his own words. This is late February when he said we might never know COVID's origins. Listen to this.
Do you think we'll ever know how the pandemic originated?
Might not. It very well might not. We may not ever know.
And then he went on with our O'Neill Cavuto March 9th and said he's still leaning toward COVID coming from nature. Listen.
I have always kept a completely open mind that it could be one or the other. Quite frankly, the evidence weighs more likely towards one, namely a natural occurrence, but I would be perfectly accepted if there were evidence that it was a lab leak.
So I guess you can update that with Senator Paul just saying now we're not done yet. So they too plan to continue to investigate and dig.
Well, the good thing about all of this now is that people who've got alternate opinions from the mainstream on certain things are not being dismissed as conspiracy theorists. So at least we are now sort of embracing all possibilities. I think that's a good development.
All right.
I'm still reporting from just outside the citadel of world freedom. Good day.